Hello there. This is a video that is a compilation of a whole bunch of ideas that I've incorporated into helping me use my bandsaw better. And so I've put these ideas together in one video, and down below this video in the description area I have put down other videos where I actually show you how to build some of these different items that I've come up with to help me use my bandsaw. I want you to know prior to watching this that there's all kinds of manufacturing places that make really nice pieces of equipment. But a lot of times there are those of you like myself that can't afford these or don't want to pay the money, and sometimes I just like the satisfaction of making the item myself, because when I use it, if it works well for me, I can say I made this. I didn't have to go out and buy it. So if you'd like to join me, I'll show you some of this equipment, and if you'd like to see how any of it is made, you can look down in the descriptors. By the way, I don't endorse purchasing any of these. I just found they worked for me, so I'm not getting a nickel off of any of these, but I'd like you to know the different items as we go through this. So here we go. Now, some of you may have your small shop inside of a garage where you're still parking a car. And my car is pulled in here every evening. So I have to have my tools portable. You can see here I have my bandsaw and my scroll saw both on portable movers. This one here is called an HTC, and this is called a Bora. The Bora is kind of a division of the same company. It's much more heavy duty, and I have a lighter tool on it. But what this allows me to do is I can take this with two fingers here, and I can pull this out, and then I can swivel it around into the work position like this, and drop it down, and I'm ready to go. If you want to know more about this piece of equipment, look down in the descriptor and I can show you the name and where to purchase it, and also how to put it together. I had the rib fence that came with this tool, but it had some awkwardness to it, and I decided to make my own. And you'll notice it's hanging right here. It's hanging on a little lip of wood, and down below I have two switch magnets that keep it magnetically stuck to the body there. You can see there's my magnets, and these here I really love because you can see right here it has a piece of wood at the end, and I can do micro adjustments on it to make sure it's nice and square, and then I can lock it into place. If you'd like to see how I made this, look down below in the descriptor and you can see where you can purchase the switch magnets and also how this is made. Here's another nifty little add-on. I love this piece of equipment because oftentimes I want to cut a square crosscut to a piece of wood, maybe to turn it on the lathe. And look how simple this is. I just have a piece of wood here. These are pieces of maple that I ripped to the size of this little groove right here into the table, and I have a second one for this one over here. I simply set this here. You don't even need the knobs, and I can cross-cut at a near perfect 90 degrees with this, and it's just wonderful to have. If you'd like to see how this is made, down below in the descriptions and you can find out. Here I have a commercially made miter gauge. This is actually for my table saw, but it fits in the grooves here and it can be used. If you want to see how to make one of these out of wood, simply can be done, inexpensively can be done, go down in the descriptions and I'll show you one made from wood. If you'd like to make a replacement for this table insert, I don't have this in the descriptions, but I just popped mine out. I flipped it over and traced it on 1/4 inch thick plywood. And then I took the plywood and I cut the circle just with a jigsaw. And I had the line on there, so I was able to spin it against the belt sander and get the circle that I needed. And after cutting a slit, I have very little gap there, so I don't get as much chipping when I'm using that. So that works out really well for me. Another thing you can do that's not too expensive, and I know they have commercial ways to deal with this, but I needed more light here, and I just wasn't getting enough light. So up here, and I give details on how to make this in the description below, but I can take this, turn this little knob, loosen this, and bring this down to a position I like. This is from an aquarium lighting, and flip on the light, and wow, I got plenty of lighting right where I need it. And when I'm done, turn it off, turn this, get it up out of the way, and I'm good to go. There's more details on this one down in the descriptor. It's simply a plug that has a switch on it. Luckily, this bandsaw has an outlet right here, so I can just go like this. And now I have a switch to turn my vacuum on and off. That's very close to the switch for my on and off on the saw. Saves a step. It's a good safety thing to have. Check the descriptor below, a little bit more detail about this. You're going to really think I'm a cheapskate on this one, but I have this vacuum intake on my bandsaw, but the hose from my vacuum cleaner is a smaller circumference or diameter. So what I did is I took a piece of wood and traced a circle from this pattern onto the wood, and then I cut it out with a jigsaw, and then I also traced this pattern from the end of this hose and cut it out with a scroll saw, and then I put this against the belt sander and continued to sand it until I had a good fit in there. And then I used this homemade drum sander on my drill press to kind of clean up this here, and you can see I have a nice tight fit there, and I didn't need to go out and spend money on that adapter. Here's a little mount that you can make to sit your bandsaw on top of. This is just made by 2x4s on the corner, some plywood on the sides, and some plywood thicker on the top and bottom, and a sliding door for keeping things inside of with a little shelf in there too.